potential economic fallout from South Africa's diplomatic tensions with the U.S. The relationship between South Africa and the United States is on shaky ground, with potential repercussions that could impact tens of thousands of South African jobs. At the heart of this diplomatic strain are contentious policy decisions by the South African government, which have not sat well with U.S. legislators and policymakers. Recent discussions held between members of the Solidarity Movement, which includes AfriForum and the trade union Solidarity, and senior U.S. officials have highlighted a growing frustration in the U.S. Congress towards South Africa's foreign policy decisions. These meetings with key figures in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, as well as with members of the Trump administration, have aired grievances concerning South Africa's alignment with contentious global players and its domestic policy issues. Historically, South Africa has maintained economic ties with the U.S. through advantageous agreements like the African Growth and Opportunity Act, Agoa, which facilitates trade by offering tariff relief. This has been instrumental in supporting around 500,000 jobs in South Africa. However, the relationship is jeopardized by a proposed bill in the U.S. Congress that calls for a comprehensive review of bilateral relations due to South Africa's affiliations with nations and groups at odds with U.S. interests, including Hamas, China, Iran, and Russia. This bill, initially passed in the House of Representatives in 2024, but not taken up by the Senate at the time, is now getting a second look as political climates and legislative balances have shifted. With the Republicans controlling the Senate and a supportive stance from the current administration, there's a higher likelihood of the bill being passed. The implications of such legislation could be severe for South Africa, particularly affecting its continued participation in Agoa. The ramifications of losing this agreement are extensive, as the economic benefits are a vital part of South Africa's trade strategy with the U.S. The Solidarity Movement has argued that penalizing the entire country for the government's actions could have unjust consequences. They suggest that sanctions should be targeted at corrupt individuals within the ANC-led government, instead of broad punitive measures that could harm ordinary South Africans. They also advocate for continued political pressure to foster necessary policy adjustments. Furthermore, there is an urgency from the Solidarity Movement to ensure that South Africa maintains its Agoa status. They have reached out to U.S. representatives, urging them to recommend to the American president the importance of keeping South Africa within the fold of this key economic legislation, while also advocating for continued diplomatic engagement to prompt policy reform in South Africa. As it stands, the potential for diplomatic fallout is significant, and the next steps by both South African diplomats and U.S. legislators will be pivotal in the unfolding economic and political landscape between the two nations. Thank you for choosing Satori News.